What up, Facebook? See if I get this camera right. So, it is February the 4th, 2019. And I got a little bit of a ride ahead of me to head out to a job site for a client of mine. So I woke up this morning kind of, I won't say depressed, but, you know, I woke up, I guess, with a revelation or a realization on my mind. And, you know, it was kind of introspective, where I was looking, I don't know, I guess maybe I woke up and it was a dream, the last dream I had, or the last, you know, bits of a dream that I had. I really don't, I didn't go to sleep thinking about it, and it was not something that I expected to wake up thinking about. Nothing through the night really happened to cause me to wake up with the thoughts that I had on my mind. And in waking up, the thoughts were centered around my pursuit for love. And I don't know, as of late, you know, I've done a lot of introspection. I've done a lot of soul searching. And I've been fortunate where I've been able to come to some clear, I've been able to come to some clear outcomes and reasons why, you know, certain things are the way they are in my life. And, you know, the reasons why certain things have happened the way they have happened. You know, I understand that we all come, you know, from an environment and influences that contribute to our decision making and contribute to our outcomes and experiences. And, you know, one of the things that I've come to realize as of late is that, you know, everybody has a specific type or way, which is a better word. Everyone has a specific way of pursuing love and how they expect or would like to be loved. Love is probably, in my experience, in my nearly 40 years, you know, I'm coming to see and understand that love is one of those things. It's literally like catching a genie in a bottle.
In half a mile, turn left to merge onto
And I think oftentimes people confuse, and I know I've confused love with happiness. You know, and I often tell people now, in spite, you know, of time of trouble and, you know, tribulation and stress, you know, that's a part of life that you get with life. You know, I think I'm the most happy I've ever been. And it just, for me, hold on, let me, so I think I'm back. So for me, happiness has come in by way, what the heck is going on right here? Oh, doggone truck drivers fighting in the truck, it looked like. Happiness have come in the way of some major decisions. You know, a lot of which, you know, required me to go through some of the most difficult times of my life, and, you know, and some of that stuff I'm still dealing with the residuals of it. And
25 miles, continue straight on.
it's one of those things where, you know, I'm happy because the decisions I've made by and large. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like every decision that I've made has been without regret, because there have been decisions that I wish I would have took more time to see the possible outcomes. But even in those decisions, I don't know if the outcome would have been different if I would have took more time. So, you know, everything, hindsight is 20/20. But, you know, what I've discovered is happiness, like I've already said, is a how. And that how largely is rooted in your decision making. And, you know, a lot of decisions I've made over the past few years have been decisions that, you know, I've made largely on my own, or the vast majority has been rooted in my saying, okay, this is what I want for me, and not necessarily anyone else. And I know on the surface that might sound selfish, but it's not, because you only get one life. You only get one time to live, you know, and many of the decisions that I made over the past few years, you know, people haven't liked. You know, have come with a lot of whatever, you know, and you know, that's by and large a part of the residuals, where you're having to learn to accept, you know, that people just won't, you know, because of the nature of how we are, you know, some people just not going to ride with what you ride with. And it is what it is. And, you know, I'll be lying if I said it was easy and that, you know, it comes easy, because it doesn't, you know, because you want people to be happy for you being happy. You know, but, you know, that's not always the case, and you have to learn to take it as it comes. You know, and try not to dwell on it, try not to take it personally, even though that's hard. All of this stuff is hard. You know, none of it is easy necessarily. But in terms of love, you know, love comes from so many different places, and it comes in so many different forms. And, you know, when you come to the understanding that I've started to come to, that, you know, love is something that's really not taught, and it can't really be taught. You know, because the way my mom loves, or the way that my dad loves, or the way that, you know, my sister or brother or people in my immediate family love, you know, the way they give love and the way they receive love might not actually be the way that I receive and give love. You know, even though they're my parents. Now, do they have influence, you know, on that? Yeah, of course they do. You know, if you think that they don't, you know, you're playing yourself, because they absolutely do. You know, but no one can tell you, you know, this is how you're supposed to love. Not a book, not a person. You know, love is. You know, and it's one of those things. It's such a difficult concept. You know, where me personally, you know, in my relationships, I've learned to stop necessarily looking for the feeling of love, and it's very hard to do, because everyone wants to be loved. You know, everyone wants to feel the feeling of love. But it's one of those things where, it's easier to reconcile and be happy in a relationship. It's easier to say, okay, this is what it is. Even if love never comes from this, am I happy? So it's one of those choices where you've chosen to be happy rather than love. And oftentimes, I know so many people, man, they chase this concept and this emotion and this feeling of love, and they miss out. And I'm one of those people where, I've made mistakes and I've done things, trying to accomplish a feeling, to accomplish, what to garner and gain what it is, or what I was told love is, or what I thought love was. Whatever the case may be in terms of how you define it, describe it, manifest it, whatever wordage and verbiage you want to use to say it. I've ran the gamut. Oftentimes, I've said in the past that love is in the moment. And for a little while, when I was going through my tribulation, when I was in the thick of it, I lost sight of that premise, that love is in the moment. I used to say when I was married that, and I kind of garnered this thought from Lauryn Hill's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, her original album. One of the topics and themes of that album was, what is love? And one of the snippets, the theatrical snippets in the album, one of the answers that was given is, there's a difference between loving somebody and being in love with somebody. And being in love with somebody is in the moment. Loving somebody, to me, now when I look at it, when I say I love you, like if I tell a family member or a friend that I love you, that's my way of saying I'm happy in my relationship with you. It's not I'm in love with you. And it's a huge difference between the two. That feeling of being in love with somebody is like the album describes it, man. It's like when the stars align and everything is perfect. Love is perfection. And that's the best way to describe, I think, what the emotion, that feeling, and everything, the absoluteness of love. Love is perfection. Happiness is not perfection. Happiness is give and take. Happiness is sacrifice. Happiness is compromise. That's what happiness is, not love. So again, when I tell someone, going back to the original premise that, I gained this at an early age. I was probably 18, 19 when Lauryn Hill's album came out, and I was introduced to this concept of, there's a difference between loving somebody and being in love with somebody. And, I made it my own, and I think to this day, it's still somewhat been my own, and something that I've kind of lived by, but I kind of strayed away from it, trying to give in to human concept, where I was confused. So I think I'm back on that now, because I understand, based on everything that I've been through, not just the recent events in the past few years, but my entire life. I've been in pursuit of love and looking for love, and as they say, in all the wrong places. And I found that I hugged my daughter, my oldest daughter, the other day. And, I can't necessarily say the love was reciprocated, because, again, I understand that she may not give love like I give love. But I used to wonder why my Aunt Sean, she hugs you. She hugs you in a way that it makes you feel like, okay, that's a hug. And so the other day I tried that same process that I learned from my Aunt Sean. I tried that same process on my daughter Zaire, and I hugged her, and I leaned into the hug, and I really wanted her to feel my heart. I wanted her to feel, hey, your daddy loves you. I know we don't talk every day. I know I don't see you every day, or whatever the case may be, but I want you to know, not only to know, but to feel that I love you. And so I gave her the hug that I gave her. And again, I don't know if the love was reciprocated, but I realized in that moment that love is more about giving than receiving. Again, because love is perfection. And when it's perfect, it's perfect. It's no question. It's absolute. So when I gave it a hug, I knew, I was like, man, that felt different. And I'm sure she felt it, but I felt it more. And it was like, that was the first time for me that I was aware of myself giving love to someone. And I have children. I have a spouse. I have a mate. I've been married. That was my first time really being aware of my giving love. It was more than I'm happy with the relationship. So I wanted to touch on this morning because, man, it hit me, and, the way it came, I can't necessarily say it came the way I presented it, because when it first came, it was like, it was negative when I woke up with it this morning. But, I think in introspection, you have to be balanced. You have to find the balance in everything the Most High God is trying to show you and trying to teach you. And, it is, I can't say that I've been absent of the Most High God in giving me answers that I've been looking for, because I haven't, man. And for me, this was an amazing answer. This was an amazing answer, and I pray that He gives me the tools and the skills to continue to give love. Love is meant to be given. Happiness is a how. And I can't say that enough, man. And I got the concept. I was introduced to the concept of happiness being a how by a guy whose book and teachings literally, played a huge part in my life changing. A guy by the name of Andrew Mellon, man. And at first when I heard him say happiness is a how, I didn't understand it. I thought I understood it, but I definitely didn't understand it. It wasn't until I started going through some shit I was going through that I realized, okay, it's about my decision making. If I choose to be in a relationship that's toxic, if I choose to be in a job that's toxic, if I choose to be in an environment that's toxic, if I choose to be around people that's toxic, if I choose to do and behave in ways that's toxic, that's the how. Why is my life, in shambles? Why is my life constantly feeling like it's being ripped to pieces? Why am I having to start over? Why? And it's because of decisions. It's because of choices. And I wasn't happy because of the choices that I was making, they were against my happiness or my pursuit for happiness. And happiness comes easy once you realize that it's not about anyone else. It's not about, outside input. It's about you, man. It's about the decisions you make. If you choose, if your choice, and it's 100% your choice to be in a relationship. And I start with relationships because it's our relationships. Oftentimes our relationships define who and what we are. In those relationships, if we make choices because of the other person or the other persons, people in the relationships, if we make choices based on absolutely on them, you're going to find yourself in a position where you're unhappy, and I like to think that, again, that I'm the happiest that I've ever been in my life. And, because at the end of the day, yeah, there's other people that's affected by my decisions. There's other people that, my decisions impact. There's other people that depend on me, literally depend on me. So, I'm not absent of that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, my decisions are my decisions. My choices are my choices. And I make it known. I make it known to my spouse. I make it known to my children. Hey, man, you have a choice to be in this relationship. No one is holding you hostage. No one is putting a gun to your head saying you have to be here. And, oftentimes I feel like that becomes an escape or a cop-out for people staying in shit that they shouldn't be in, that is not making them happy, and it's because of fear more often than not, because people don't readily move to change. It's easy to talk about, but to actually do, the majority of people are going to stay put because change is hard. So, again, when I talk about happiness, man, happiness is about, number one, first and foremost, is about decision makings. When you start making decisions, that's gonna absolutely impact your life first and foremost. And you saying, hey, this is the choice that I'm gonna make, and either you with me and you ride with me, or you can do something different. That's happiness, man. And when you start making those choices, man, you'll be amazed at how easy happiness comes. And now, if you wanted a mindset that happiness comes, it comes without, that it comes easy, you playing yourself, because it don't. It doesn't. It does not come easy. It does not come with stress. It does not come without hate. It does not come without people disowning you and putting you out of their life, or whatever the case may be. It comes for just as much good as happiness brings to your life. It comes with just as much bad, and that's yin yang. That's balance. You can't have darkness without light. You can't have up without down. You can't have left without right. It is what it is. It's absolute. So that's happiness, and like I said, love, for me, love is in the moment. Love, there's a difference between loving somebody and being in love with somebody. Being in love with somebody is in the moment. Loving somebody, to tell somebody that you love them, is simply saying, hey, man, or hey, woman, or hey, girl, boy, child, whatever, grandma, I'm happy with the relationship that we have, and, I'm happy in it, no matter the change, no matter the give and take, Because a lot of times, that's the other problem with happiness and love, is that people think that it comes without change. You know, they think that love doesn't change. They think that happiness does not change. It absolutely does. Change is a fundamental part of the motion and the activity of life. If you think that life is gonna not come without change, man, you might as well die. Because that's what it is. It's death. Life without change is death. So, you know, I know I'm probably saying the same stuff over and over again, but, you know, this thing resounded and resonated within me this morning when I woke up with it, you know, and I felt like I needed to put it out there, not only for you guys, but for myself, you know, because you speak things into existence. You know, we speak things into existence, and, you know, the revelation of what I'm speaking is not only for the people that might view this, or those that might view this, but it's also for me. You understand? So, you know, I just need y'all to know that love and happiness, or happiness and love, are very different. And again, happiness is a how. You know, it's about the decisions you make. You know, and it comes easy. It comes easy, but it's not without work. You understand what I'm saying? Happiness is a how, and it's not without work. You know, as the scriptures say, faith without works is dead. You know, the same thing with happiness. Happiness without work is death, man. It's death. Love without work is death. You know, love without change is death. Happiness without change is death. You know. So, and finally, like I said, love, there's two types of love. You know, I love you, and I'm in love with you. I love you is just me. It's the veneer of me saying, hey man, I'm happy with our relationship. You know, but me being in love with you is in that moment that we share. You know, whether it's a hug or a kiss, or, you know, a beautiful hour, or a beautiful day, or a beautiful week. You know, it's in the moment. It's in that space and time. So when we become clear about that, man, life becomes much easier. And you can wake up in a bad frame of thought. And if you have balance in your life, God will take that bad frame of thought, and he'll show you exactly what he wanted you to see in that bad frame of thought. Peaceful.